I think this year it was anybody. So, oh, video started.
So we try to log on.
Yeah, we're live. Don't say anything you don't want online because we're live right now. So, District 40. Welcome to the District 40 podcast. My name is Johnny Randolph, and I have an illustrious group of co-hosts. They are dynamic and awesome, and I hope that everybody is having an extraordinary conference. So give it up for yourselves. And I am going to turn to my first co-host sitting to my left, well, not quite distinguished, but the awesome Bertina Rollins. Bertina.
For that great introduction, Donnie, and we want to welcome everybody to our live broadcast at the D40 conference. 70 plus years of empowerment. Help me out, gang. Excellence, communication, and leadership. And we welcome you. Next, we'll turn it over to our next co-host.
Well, good afternoon, District 40.
Good
How
afternoon.
are you doing this evening or afternoon? Yes, we are live today from the District 40 Spring Conference here in Fairborn, Ohio. Super excited to be here today. And we have a wonderful panel of distinguished, excellent leaders, and we're going to talk with them today. So first, we're going to introduce Kathy Donovan. I'll go ahead and turn things over to Johnny to read her bio.
All right. Well, those of you who have been around for a while, this name is with excellence. She is a former district director. Kathy Donovan, or when I say former, Lavinia's gonna get on me because it's past director of 40. During the 2027-2028 program year, what did I say?
7.
I'm seeing the ahead of my time that I'm coming back now to 18. During her tenure, the district education program made a big leap into pathways where there were extra efforts made to bring the organization up to speed on the new tool and content. This occurred just prior to COVID, so her role as the immediate past district director was challenging. Her home club is Grove City Toastmasters, where they have gone to an all in-person meeting and are averaging 17 attendees at any given meeting. So please, District 40 Conference, give it up for past district director, Miss Kathy Donovan.
Yeah. Yeah.
Do I say something now? Thank you for that introduction, Johnny.
All right. So we're going to pass it over to Bertina.
All right. I have our past district director, Mr. Gene Bailey himself. He was our district director during the 2021 program year. He has also served as the division director and area director, earning both the District 40 Division Director of the Year and Area Director of the Year. Yes, yes. Jean is a member of the Encore Advanced Toastmasters, City of Columbus Toastmasters, and let me finish, and Progressively Speaking Toastmasters, where he has held numerous of club officer roles. In his professional career, Gene served as the director of the Neighborhood Health Projects Office and Community Engagement Officer for the Columbus Public Health Department and has done so for the past 18 years. He assists residents, neighborhoods, and faith-based community to address the key health issues confronting them to ultimately improve community health outcomes and quality of life. In his spare time, Gene loves to spend time with his wife, 2 daughters, and their Cavachon named LeBron. And you know I love LeBron because I'm a Clevelander and LeBron was our star. He enjoys working on the lawn, reading, and being active. I pass it to Althea.
All right, let's give it up for Jean Bailey. All right, and it is my honor to introduce to some, or most of you, our distinguished current district director, Luvinia Boyer.
Yes, yes.
She is our current district director and has been a member of Toastmasters for almost 10 years. She served as an area director, division director, and she's a member of Gahanna Toastmasters. Now, she's a member of 4 clubs, you guys. 4. Yeah, I know, right? So she's a member of Gahanna Toastmasters, Central Ohio Advanced Toastmasters, Rise Higher Toastmasters, and BMW NA Toastmasters in District 83.
Yes. Rich.
She is a senior data scientist at BMW Financial for the credit risk management team, and last year earned her Master's of Science in Data Science from Eastern Michigan University.
Wow.
Yep. All right. Outside of Toastmasters, Lavinia is a mother to adult twin daughters and a son. She's a proud pet owner of a golden tabby cat named Peanut. In her spare time, she enjoys puzzles, science fiction movies, and hanging out with friends. Please join me in welcoming to our panel, Lavinia Boyer. How is everyone doing today? Awesome,
right.
awesome. All right, Johnny, I'm going to turn things over to you to kick up the question.
Okay, well, I will start with my first question and I'll direct it at Kathy and say, Lavinia, what made you want to be a district director? Where in your Toastmasters journey did you have to say, I want to run this whole thing?
Well, the first time I went to a D40 conference, I went to the dinner on Saturday night, and all these district officers were parading in all their glitz and glamour, and they were going up to the head table, and I thought, I want to be one of them. So that's what first inspired me. I did look into it and talk to some folks and said, well, how do I volunteer? I need a project. And so they offered me to help with the conference, actually direct it the next year. Well, someone else sidelined in there and they said, but why don't you do this? And so as I started on these other journeys and people kept coaching me, and somebody very near and dear to my heart, Sandy said, why don't you, put your hat in the ring? And so I did. And I'm very glad I did because I learned a lot during the process. And I felt like I was able to make sure this wonderful organization kept going. And I would contribute to it to the fullest extent I could to make sure that it was a stellar place for everybody to accomplish what they wanted and needed to do. So at first it was, the bling, but then after I looked at it, it was of purpose.
Love it.
Cool.
All right.
Excellent, excellent.
What about you, Madam, current Madam District Director?
I can't hear her.
Yeah, get closer to the mic.
It's those moments where you really don't know what you're getting into. But becoming a Toastmaster, I've had the fortune of being surrounded by great past district leaders. Sandy Boldly, like what Kathy talked about. We have Gary Douglas. We have Karen Isaac. And they said to me one day, when the people you hang around with is who you become. And they all were past district directors. So it was inevitable that I would do this. But one question that was posed to me is, what do you want to do when you grow up, basically? And I thought, I want to be a region advisor. And then someone said, well, in order for you to be a region advisor, you have to be a district director. And that began my journey in leadership on the trajectory to one day become a region advisor. And that's how I got here.
All right.
Great answer.
And I'll pass it to my illustrious co-host if they want to ask another question.
She'd like to hear from Jean. What inspired you to become a district director in District 40?
Well, similar and a little different. My journey to become a Toastmaster was improved speaking. And it was in a speech contest, I believe, that I wasn't able to move forward, placed, I think, third. And at the next TLI, I think it was James, who was sharing about how to become an area director. So I was not even considering leadership, going to leadership journey. But as Levine has said and others, when you're surrounding yourself with mentors who are on that journey, I think of Don Schultze and I think of Steve Grant and Bill Morrow, all of these leaders, I just started following footsteps. And I looked for opportunities to speak during this leadership journey. And so that's what I had in the back of my mind. I was not intending at all to move forward toward district director, but it became an unfolding experience and an unfolding journey, and the journey continues.
Excellent.
Awesome. I have a question for you, Kathy. Can you share with us one of your more memorable experiences as our district director, and maybe a story about something that you were able to achieve during your tenure?
Sure. Wow, there's so many stories. Wow. I think one of the things that I tend to gravitate towards process improvement. And one of the things we were able to do was beef up the website a bit better. I wanted to make sure that when people who weren't even familiar with Toastmasters landed on our site, that they were intrigued and they had some information to go with. We also combined that with the Meetup platform, and I studied that and made sure that area and clubs could get up on Meetup to engage with people. With that, there were a lot of folks that found Toastmasters that otherwise wouldn't have. And we were able to grow clubs and maintain clubs with new membership through those associations on the Meetup platform. And I ended up actually giving presentations to other districts in Toastmasters International on how to get involved with the Meetup movement and get their districts going. So what started as a small endeavor for District 40 ended up being something that the rest of Toastmasters International was able to use. And I think that that's a testament to this organization, that as you develop capabilities, you can harvest them and pass them on.
Wow.
Awesome. Thank you.
Yes, excellent. Yeah.
Ferdinand, did you have a question you wanted?
I do have a question for Kathy. As it's been said that you've introduced us into the pathways, can you share how the district has grown since the pathway program was taking hold?
Well, there's been some challenges with that growth, as you know, COVID and a few other things sort of dismantled our practice of meeting together and helping each other. And Pathways hit just before that. I think Pathways was a challenge because it was so new. It was different to be going to your computer instead of having a book with you. Um, Myself and others used to take our book to the doctor's office and work on stuff as we were waiting in the waiting room, something you could carry around with you. Um, so the pathways did open up a lot more skill sets though, and a lot more customization as far as what you could do. We had a group of ambassadors and we also had a group of trainers. It was a multi-year process. I think that Toastmasters International learned a lot about how they adjust their curriculum. There's another movement to continue adjusting the curriculum. So I think that the lessons that they learned and the feedback that we gave them during that time is going to make this next transition a little bit more smoother. At least, that's what we all are counting on. So it allowed us to engage with millennials and people who are used to using computers, not so much books. You look at the folks coming out of college, and that's where they were all the time on their computer. They did their research there, not in the library. They did their learning there, not, sitting down reading a book. So I think that was helpful for the younger crowd, but for the older crowd, there was a challenge where it was nice to be able to write in your book and write notes there. And so that's a challenge that any industry faces when there's a new paradigm shift and you've got technology coming to the forefront. And I think that District 40 did a good job of absorbing it and sharing it and embracing the new methods and the new criteria for advancing their own personal skills, both from a speaker and leadership level.
Thank you.
Could I jump in real quickly?
Sure you can.
Mr. DTM Bailey, I have a question for you. You became a club girl director when we were all in person. So you're thinking to yourself, hey, I've got things in person and we've got these large clubs. Well, when you became a district director, things changed a lot. COVID came and caused monumental change. What were you thinking as you had to deal with navigating and leading district during this difficult period? And what were some of the lessons that you learned about your leadership skills during this period?
Excellent question, Johnny. What was I thinking? What I was thinking on that previous question, going back to beginning that club growth journey, I was thinking of taking my wife to Paris.
Oh, that's right.
That's why to answer and to fulfill a wedding promise.
Okay,
All right. So what occurred is I'm so proud of District 40, and you'll hear this over and over, but the leadership was able to pivot. And I learned a lot what that word meant, besides being in athletics, to be able to be flexible. As Kathy mentioned earlier about the technology, we found ourselves in Toastmasters in District 40 ahead of the curve with Zoom and ahead of the curve with technology, being able to look at the camera and see the camera and know where the image is. Those kinds of things that we were teaching, I found myself teaching the clients and the customers I work with, different organizations. So to answer your question, Johnny, what I learned for myself is about myself in leadership is perseverance. We would have a standing time where our trio would come together and meet by phone. That changed to Zoom. All of our in-person meetings changed to Zoom. We learned a lot of what Zoom was and all these other virtual realities. I did think that, it was going to be a challenge in terms of being able to grow out, but then we found ways in which virtually to grow. And I'm so proud of our team to move forward. I'm sitting beside a former division director of mine, and she, along with our other division directors, said, no, we need to move forward with our speech contests. And I give her kudos on that. You know, we were going to hold the line and say, well, you know, this is what TI says. We had to listen. And we had, in addition to listening, to act on our best information that we had at that time. Sometimes you're going to be in the dark. You will be in the dark at night. This is a time we were in the dark and we had to feel our way. Last, I'll say, I'm grateful to Toastmasters as their resource to develop skills, a skill set that allowed me 5 different roles at work, and to be working in 5 different jobs, basically, to help the community. And that wouldn't have happened if it wasn't for Toastmasters.
Right.
Thanks. I actually have a follow-up question to that one. With us going into the pandemic, we had no idea what we were facing. We thought this would have been something that would be over in a couple of weeks. Years later, right? Did you find during your time as our district director that you were able to collaborate with other district leaders throughout different districts in the United States or even abroad? Given the fact that we've gone into a virtual platform, it makes it more easy for you to connect with those not in your area. So during your time as our district director, were you able to collaborate with other district leaders outside of our district to help you navigate this new space that you were experiencing with the pandemic?
Excellent question, Althea. Yes, the answer is yes. I think of right away a partnership with the surrounding districts in Michigan, Indiana, around our Rotary alliance that we have, that Toastmasters has with the Rotary International. And that was a great collaboration that I'm sure continues. And we got a chance to partner with district directors in Rotary and district directors within Toastmasters International. So that is one example that comes to mind. And then we got a chance to get around the world and see other clubs.
Yes.
That was amazing and is amazing to be able to see and to see humanity. And I never thought it would be up close, that technology could bring me up close with others. I like to touch and feel. And I would have to say I have missed that. But I've learned through, and I'm learning through technology, how to touch and to feel.
Wow. Good, good. Well, since you're on the spot, Gene, we're just gonna stay right, we're just gonna stay right on with you. And my question for you is, how do you continue to contribute to the district after serving as the district director?
That's a speech. I will bring it down as short as I can. I mentioned one of the jobs that I had. As you know, I serve in Columbus Public Health. And so we were right at the forefront in that. And one of the jobs was to actually go door to door and to issue pandemic letters. And they needed a skill set, a commissioner needed a skill set to get the message to the patient before they leave the zone of the contagion zone. So little did I believe I would be so close. So I'm getting to your question.
Go ahead, take your time. We got time.
So there was a time before going to that second or third door. And I heard a voice on my shoulder saying, you know, they only picked you because you're 50 and 3. You know, I know, I hear my daughter. You know, you're extendable.
Oh.
Wow.
your good friend, your best friend, Reggie, he lost his father to COVID. What are you doing going up to that door? What kind of father leaves their children and family in a situation like this? So I had to do some soul searching. But then I heard another voice on the other side saying, "Lo, I'll be with you."
Ooh,
I'll be with you.
yes.
So I marched up those steps, knocked on the door, and said, "Gene Bailey, Columbus Public Health." Name. And 6 times out of 10, the goal was to get the number, their mobile number, because the purpose I was there was because I don't know if you've heard of the trackers, or those that track, and my mind's been long today, I'm sorry. But these are trackers that track your history,
Okay.
who you've been in contact with, contact tracer stuff. So I was on the contact management side. And so if the contact tracer was unable to reach the patient within 3 or 4 tries, we had to go. And I made a promise in that car at 13. I said, "Lord, if you get me through this, I will do 3 things. 1, I'll never run away from a speaking engagement again. Number 2, I'll tell my story, which I just did part of. And 3, I'll help others to do the same."
Wow, okay.
I just feel like saying, wow, take them, talk to them. Great speech.
Take them to the mass.
So I want to have a question for Lavinia. District 40, we are back outside as evidenced by this wonderful conference today. But it has been kind of your job as the district director to navigate us from that transition of being always inside to trying to come back out or duplicate what normal is going to be like going forward. How has that process influenced your leadership style?
That's a great question, Johnny. This year, has been interesting trying to break the habits that we've gotten accustomed. As challenging as it was having to pivot from being in person to going online, now our members have become comfortable with being online, and it's convenient, and it gives you an opportunity to multitask. I don't believe in multitasking.
Okay.
Your mind can only focus 100% on one thing. You have to choose one or the other to focus on, and you can't really contribute fully if you're trying to divide your attention. And I think that that's one of the things that's been hurting our clubs as well. And so it really took for me to start really having to ask people a lot of questions, right? Just trying to understand what their experience was, but to also kind of help them to see the solution. And hopefully that they would see the solution the way I see the solution. Because we know clubs don't want us to come and tell them what to do, and we can't. But what has been interesting, I think, from the district is making that decision that at least for the district, we are going to do our events in person. And I got a lot of pushback on it from the members and even from some of the leaders, because it was something that it was forcing us to step outside of our comfort zone. But I believe that the more people got to experience the back to in-person experience, got to have that experience of the fellowship in the community that we have when we're in person, just the whole dynamic and the spirit of being in person, that they would then want to go back to being in person. And so gradually it started with just a few people coming, but we have been growing. And I even look at this conference, like last year, we had set out to do the in-person, hybrid conference. We got over 100 people to attend. And we thought, wow, because that was more than I thought. Because I told John, we can get 75. Because I had to sell him on it. But this year, my goal was to get 125. And I thought, okay, that's pushing it, but we got over 150 people. So it really, it takes perseverance. Yeah, it also takes just to have the faith in our members, right? Just to know that our members, they want to do the right thing. And it's just helping to remind them of what they're missing out on. And I think that's what I had to develop in my leadership, with how to support them and how to guide them and spur them to doing something new and something different.
I had a question for Kathy. No, I think I asked you our question. I'm sorry. It's Lavinia, since we are with you. But I will come back to you, Kathy. I do have another question though for you. Your term is coming to a close. What has been your greatest achievement and what has been the most challenging task to date?
That's a tough one.
For the challenges or the good things?
Both.
Okay.
Well, when I think about this year we have, and I know every district director feels that about their team, but we have a great leadership team. The division directors and the area directors have been so supportive and really wanting to go out and support the club. And, they've been supportive of me, hearing my vision. My theme this year, be active, be engaged, and achieve together. And they rallied behind that. And as we have worked together, it's been encouraging to see that. But I think even getting the opportunity to go around and be with the members again in person, I think that's been wonderful. Being able to have one-on-one conversations with members again, that then you can personalize those conversations and really get to hear each other's stories. The most challenging thing this year, I think, it's been just really trying to push forward in spite of people pushing, not wanting to do the in-person, just holding on to my vision and continuing through my vision, because I believe in my vision. And that's been challenging, but it taught me, it helped me to also build a confidence in who I am, and a confidence that I do have something to add. I do have things that I can help make a difference in people's lives. And I think that was one of the most challenging things this year as a district director. And I'm gonna miss it. Some of you probably think, I mean, it's hard. It's not easy a lot of times, but I'm going to miss the members. Like, I'm going to be here, but it's going to be that different interaction. And I think that's what I'm going to miss the most.
Good stuff. Mr.
Okay, well, I can jump in with a question. I actually have a question for all three of our panelists. And we'll start with you, Kathy. All right, so you guys may be aware that we are celebrating 100 years as an organization. Believe that, 100 years, you guys. So we have Kathy, who served as our district director pre-COVID. We had Jean, who served during COVID, and we have Lavinia, who's serving post. I'm curious to know from all of you, where do you see our organization going in the next 3 to 5 years? And I'll start with you, Kathy. So just your time in Toastmasters, you've seen how our district has grown and how we've been able to rise to those challenging situations and be successful. Where do you see the organization in the next 3 to 5 years?
Well, I did mention earlier that there's a new technology mechanism on the horizon. Pathways will be, if I could say, replaced with something new. And I think that once again, we're going to have to build an introductory team, build some ambassadors, help with coaching, So that's going to be another challenge, and District 40 is going to rise to that occasion. The other thing I think that we need to look at is our clubs and make sure that we're delivering on the things that our members need. So I can see the district rallying around making sure that members are engaged, understand the benefits of the program, and are receiving them quickly. The best way to keep a member is to have them find success early. So I look to the district to rally around those messages and become a force to be reckoned with. District 40 is a strong district, and we can become even stronger. And I think the way we do that is we continue to send the message outside of District 40 saying, hey, this is something that could really help you. Why don't you check it out? And then once they join, then it makes it great. It's all about the member, right? And we need to make sure that we start there. So I can see District 40 paying attention to that, because most everybody I know in District 40 is concerned about all the other members, and we're a family. So as long as we keep that family perspective, we can get through the next trial, the next education, revamping, and any other pandemic they want to throw at us.
Right.
All right, yes.
We are definitely a resilient district. I do agree with you. Gene, what about you? Next 3 to 5 years, where do you see Toastmasters going?
I see it, I see Toastmasters going and the district addressing the young generation, this generation that's coming that needs to develop interpersonal communication skills.
Yes.
I see it in my daughters. I see it in the children, and both of them were in youth leadership, and we're constantly still instilling seeds. But the point of it is, it's a generation that is yearning for communication, learning that'll sit with a smartphone in the same room as another person that they're talking to. Okay. So the need to develop communication skills, as long as there's people. I know AI is growing. There still will be a need to develop communication, no matter the Toastmaster education program, whether it's the legacy, which I love, pathways I love, and the new one. Whatever the new one is, we'll be there to be dynamic to help teach communication and leadership skills.
All right.
Right, Madam District Director, what say you?
Well, I think that my two predecessors have already really talked a lot about what this organization is moving towards. A younger generation, better use and more use with technology. So when I think about District 40, I have to echo Kathy that District 40 has always been a strong district. And we've been one of the districts that other districts look up to, even still, even in our challenges. We think that we look at the challenges that we've had, but when you talk to other districts that are in our region, they're still looking at us as the example. And they're imitating us. They're growing through what we're doing. And like Jean said, we are way ahead of the game when you really look at the other districts. So I see us as a district setting a pace, setting the way, and setting our region and setting Toastmasters International in the direction that we're gonna exceed where we were before COVID. I do see the organization rebounding and growing. It's already growing. The district is already growing. My vision is this year, District 40 can be distinguished and close. We have the numbers. All right. And our members are becoming excited again about the program, about being Toastmasters. And you can see it in just the way that our clubs are starting to grow again. And so I just think if we all just remain steady and just keep focused and keep wanting to invest in ourselves and use the program to show what the program can help us to become and communicate that out to everyone we know, we'll be part of that growth that we're going to see in the next 2, 3, 4 years.
All right. It's up, Lavinia. The district director role, it epitomizes leadership. And as I gaze out at this audience, I see current leaders, I see future leaders, people that one day inherited the spot that you, Kathy, and Jean have occupied. So to anybody who wants to take the question, I want to know, what does leadership mean to you?
Well,
I'm
the current leader,
You have to be
I think to me, leadership it's about inspiring people to be the best version of themselves. It's not about being a boss. It's not about barking orders. It's about getting involved with people and helping them to discover what they can't see yet. Help them to have the experiences that they haven't experienced to help them see what they haven't seen yet. And that's what I think of a leader. And you can test their leadership by the growth that you see in the people around you, by the people that rally and join you in developing in that leadership. And that's really what demonstrates a good leader.
Jean, Kathy, either you want to weigh in? You don't have to. You can say.
One of the things I think a leader does is they're sort of a scout, and they might go ahead of where the organization is and look around and see what might be coming up or what the possibilities and opportunities are, and find a way to articulate that and share that so that other folks can understand the message, and then the leader gathers their input, and through that collaboration you have a shared vision on where you want to go next, because we're all on a journey, we're all moving, nothing changes, including death and taxes, and we all have something to do tomorrow, something to do the day after. And I think that it's that visionary culmination of what you see in other people, as Lavinia mentioned, and in other things that impact you, your environment, other individuals, technology, as we've mentioned, and sort of connecting the dots and seeing where the next step is. A leader won't also take you to the next continent, they'll take you to maybe the next street, as you can digest it. So there's some temperance there that the leader, looks around and sees what kind of pace an organization can go, and then help with the cadence and the velocity that you take your next step. So there's a lot of thought that goes into it, a lot of empathy, and a lot of communication. So Toastmasters is the place to learn how to be a leader.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right.
Everything has been said, as Lavinia said. So I'll only add 2 points. One is, I agree with John Maxwell in the phrase, leadership is influence. Leader knows the way, shows the way, and goes the way. Personally, Jean would say that I'm learning in this experience. I always put an ing on my verbs because we're growing, learning, developing. Learn that from a gentleman named Charlie Tremendous Jones. But I'll add this, that the leadership, a kernel of the leadership is finding the need that's missing and filling in that gap, just as Kathy has said, finding the need and filling.
Wow.
That's all.
Wow. Yeah. Man, and that kind of leads me into my next question for all 3 of you, Jean, which I kind of think you may have already answered it, but my question is, what is your favorite leadership or communication quote, and why?
I can start with that one. Leaders are readers. It's short and simple, but you can't get everything out of conversation, and you've got a plethora of things out there on the internet and in the library. And if you have something that you've spotted in that scouting position or in looking around and you don't think you'll have all the pieces of the puzzle, you go find it and you go find out what other people are thinking and what other leaders are doing and what has worked and what hasn't worked. So I think there isn't any way you can get around reading.
Wow, I like that. And that's why I like this question. Because it brings depth and meaning. You get to learn something, you know?
And it's your question.
And it's my, yeah, that's right. And it's a good one.
It was an alliteration for you speakers.
Well, my quote that has really been inspiring me all year is a quote by Henry Ford, that if you think you can, or you think you can't, you are right.
Yep.
And that has been something that I've been holding on to because you accomplish what you set your mind to accomplish. If you set your mind on achievement and you go after achievement, you'll find success.
Mhm.
It may not look the way that you thought it was going to look in the beginning, but at the end of the day, you'll find it to be what you need.
Mhm.
And if you think you can't, you're not even going to try. You've already defeated yourself because you're not going to put forth the effort or the energy. And so I think that those people who say to themselves, this is what I envision, and they push forward and go after doing it, those are the people that you find you have people following because people want to follow you to success.
Wow, love it, love it.
May I share two?
Yes, of
Oh.
course.
One in which takes me back to 2012, when I walked through the doors at the City of Columbus Toastmasters Club and I see it clear as day. I'm standing in the table topics masters asking that same question, Lamar, and it's be the change you wish to see in the world.
Ooh,
God,
yes,
be
yes.
the change. This-
I'm sorry.
This,
You're done.
oh, I'm sorry.
Please go ahead. No, no, no.
I
go
take a
ahead.
little while.
I just got excited about that. If I'm doing the podcast from home, behind me, there's a sign that says, be the change. Be the change. I just got excited about that. I'm sorry. Please continue.
Yeah.
Please continue.
No, that resonates with me just as it resonates with you, Bettina. Whatever reason, we are individuals and we are part of collective humanity at the same time. The second quote I have on my wall, and I've internalized it to share, comes from a futurist by the name of Alvin Toffler. He wrote the book Future Shock. And this quote, I take it as leadership because we are constantly improving. He says, the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read or write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn.
Yeah.
So
Ooh.
I'm constantly asking myself, Gene, today, what did you learn? Nick?
Mhm.
What did you unlearn? And what did you relearn? And what are you relearning?
Wow.
COVID took us through a lot of that and we continue. So just want to share.
Oh, snap, snap, snap,
That's definitely a
snap.
snap moment there.
Yes.
All right, friends. So we are getting toward the end of our time together. I want to thank the audience for being here with us today for the podcast. Yes. Give it up for yourself, District 40. I want to also take an opportunity to thank our panelists for being here, being gracious to share their time. But before we let them go, I have one final question. One final question. I know it's an easy one, I promise you guys. So this weekend, we're going to hear from individuals who are vying for the next program year's leadership roles. And I'm just curious for you to share with these individuals any word or words of advice as they are going to embark on this journey of leadership in District 40. So what words of advice, encouragement can you offer to these individuals as they're pursuing their leadership goals within District 40? And I'll start with you, Jean.
Learn to continue to grow.
Mm.
Rome wasn't built in a day. And the process, I think of 3 Ps, where life is a series of processes in order to progress. We're practicing, that is, processes in order to progress. Be patient with yourself. 4th P. Be patient with yourself. You're going to move forward, take 2 steps, 3 steps forward, but then some days you're going to take steps back. Isn't that right, Nuveen? Continue to move forward. Just as we share with our members, keep coming back to the meetings. Keep coming back. I'm so glad that I kept coming back, because it wouldn't have gone from a place of just outright fear to continuous growth. But that comes from persistence. So keep persisting, keep persevering.
Kathy, what words of encouragement do you offer for the next leaders coming into the next program year?
2 things. The first one is use your mentors. If you don't have a mentor, find a mentor. And if your mentor isn't a specialist in that area and you need something in a different area, find another mentor. You can't have too many mentors. As mentioned earlier, you become the person that you like, the people you hang out with. What is it they say, the top 5 people? Pick those people and stay in touch with them. And if you're not sure what to do, call somebody, phone a friend. I've been phoned by several district leaders, and I very much enjoyed our conversation. The other thing I would recommend is that if you have something that isn't going to be done during your year, because it's just going to take that long, make sure that whoever is coming up behind you that will take your reins also understands and is involved and is capable of continuing that, so that if you have a 2 or 3 year long thread that you've got to put in place, that is maintained, the momentum is maintained, and you actually achieve it so that you've got a successful culmination of that effort for the district. Things can't always be, Rome wasn't built in a day. We talked about Rome earlier. So communicate well and leave breadcrumbs and support them even after you leave, like Jean and I are doing.
Yeah, I was going to say, great. There are definitely resources in Jean and Kathy. So for those of you that are seeking mentorship, you have examples of that right here in front of you. Last and certainly not least, I'll leave it to our current district director. What words of encouragement would you offer the incoming leaders for next program year?
I have a lot of things going through my mind. The first thing that I want to say, it goes back to Dean's quote. Be willing to learn, unlearn, and relearn. I think one of the biggest challenges that I had, and I see it in the other leaders, is we come in with this mindset of how we think things should go in the district, or how if I was the director, I would do this or I would do that. But when you're in the role and you're living in the role, it's not the way it looks when you're looking from outside the window. And so, my encouragement is kind of come in with a clean slate, willing to see the district and the members at face value, and then be willing to be part of that solution to help the district to go forward. I also think I would say to work together with the other leaders on the team, because it can't be one person that makes everything work. Everybody has to work together. Sharing your ideas, asking questions, and being willing to ask for help when you need help or when you don't know. Be willing to lean on those around you to help you as you're going through your leadership. And then the last thing I would say is share the knowledge. Find someone that is going to be a miniature you. That person who is going to learn from you and follow in your steps. Find that person and help raise them up to also be great leaders that'll be our future leader for the district.
I don't know about y'all, but this was a great way to kick off the conference. I feel so inspired.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
yes. This has been.
Well, with
awesome.
that, we'll go ahead and wrap things up. Thank you guys again so much for attending our podcast episode, and we'll see you next month. Enjoy
Next
the-
month, the fourth Tuesday, the
Yes,
fourth
7 o'clock.
Tuesday,
Tuesday,
Be there.
7 o'clock, live
7
on
o'clock,
YouTube.
live on YouTube.
Have a good one, you guys.
Happy conference.